It was late, the kind of late when even the air feels different, quieter, heavier. Surrey, British Columbia, was half asleep under a thin drizzle. Streetlights hummed above the empty parking lot of Simon Fraser University, painting long orange reflections across the wet ground. Inside the library, one student lingered after most had gone home. Her name was Maple Batalia, 19 years old, health science major, model, actress, dreamer. She had been up for hours studying, chasing a life that already seemed to be unfolding in front of her. People remembered how focused she was that week, how she talked about the audition she had coming up, about the new photo shoot she was nervous for. Maple had plans, and every single one of them pointed forward, but not everyone around her wanted her to move forward. Her ex-boyfriend, Gary Dhaliwal, had been part of her story since high school. In the beginning, it looked like a good match. Young love, constant laughter, plans that sounded like forever. Then the tone changed. He started to check her phone, to question who she texted, to show up when she hadn't told him where she'd be. Jealousy has a way of pretending to be care until it's too late to tell the difference. By the time Maple finally ended it, the relationship had already turned into a pattern of control and apology, silence and anger. She wanted peace, he wanted her back, or no one to have her at all. On the night of September 28, 2011, Maple left the library a little before 1 in the morning. She walked alone toward her car. The cameras caught her, just a quick, grainy glimpse, an umbrella in her hand, her bag over one shoulder. Nothing unusual. Across the lot, a white Dodge Charger waited. The engine was running. The lights were off. What happened next lasted only seconds. 3 gunshots, then a scream that echoed through the concrete courtyard. Campus security found Maple lying beside her car. She had been shot multiple times. There were knife wounds too, as if rage hadn't burned itself out fast enough. Her books were scattered on the ground, soaked through by the rain. The paramedics tried, but she was already gone by the time they reached the hospital. For detectives, the scene made no sense. No robbery, no sign of struggle beyond the attack itself. Just precision, intention. But one small clue glimmered on the surveillance footage. That same white car leaving the lot, speeding away into the dark. A Dodge Charger. It wasn't much, but it was something. In the hours that followed, the city started to wake up to the news. A promising young woman murdered outside her own university. Friends couldn't believe it. Family couldn't understand it. And somewhere out there, the man who loved her thought he had erased everything. He had wiped the weapon, hidden the car, built a story he thought would hold. But he forgot one thing. Cameras don't forget. And when investigators began to rewind the footage, frame by frame, the truth started to come into focus. The image was blurred, but not enough to hide him forever. Morning came with rain again. The kind that doesn't fall, just hangs in the air. Quiet, heavy, like the city itself was holding its breath. Surrey woke to the sound of sirens and camera shutters. A university parking lot, cordoned off in yellow tape. Students standing behind it, staring at the wet ground where one of their own had fallen only hours earlier. 19 years old. Her name already on every screen, but no answers. Not yet. Detectives moved slowly through the scene, marking spots of blood, picking up shell casings that glinted under the dull light. Someone mentioned a car. White. Leaving fast. The security footage was rough, just a blur crossing the frame. But it was something to start with. That blur turned out to be a Dodge Charger. And when police began running the list of cars like it, one name kept resurfacing. Gary Dhaliwal, Maple's ex-boyfriend. Her friends had said his name the night before. Some of them had warned her he might do something. She'd told them not to worry, but now everything pointed back to him. The car, the timing, the silence. Detectives dug deeper. Phone records showed Gary's cell signal near the campus just before the shots were fired. Then nothing. Phone turned off, like he'd planned it, like he knew exactly when to disappear. When they tracked down the car he'd borrowed, it was spotless. Too spotless. The interior reeked of cleaning chemicals, mats scrubbed raw. But inside the engine bay, hidden deep between the metal panels, a single brass casing sat wedged in grease. It was small, but it spoke louder than any confession. Ballistics matched it to the bullets that killed Maple. They also found something else, a drop of blood under the driver's seatbelt buckle. The DNA was hers. After that, there were no more questions about who, only where. Dhaliwal had vanished. He'd slipped across the border, driving through the night, changing his name, hiding with friends who didn't yet know what he'd done. For weeks, it was like chasing smoke. But investigators didn't let go. They followed his searches, his emails, his quiet digital footprints that told the story he never meant to tell. Long nights scrolling through Maple's photos, saving screenshots of her life, reading old messages again and again. Obsession doesn't need logic, it just needs time. Back in Surrey, Maple's family prepared for her funeral. Reporters stood outside the church in the drizzle, microphones covered in plastic. Her mother's voice cracked through the noise. She wanted to heal people, and now she's the one who needs justice. People cried, even those who didn't know her, because it wasn't just about one girl anymore. It was about how easily someone's light can be stolen. In seconds, in silence, in a parking lot that still smelled like rain. 2 months passed, then a break. Police found Dhaliwal hiding in a basement apartment back in British Columbia. He looked thinner, tired, eyes sunken like someone who hadn't slept right in weeks. When officers broke down the door, he didn't fight. He just stood there, hands raised as if he'd been waiting for it. He said nothing, not during the arrest, not in the car, not even when they told him Maple's name. He just stared ahead, breathing slow. For the investigators, it wasn't satisfaction they felt. It was exhaustion. The kind that comes when the story you've been chasing turns out to be exactly what you feared all along. They had their man, but justice, that was still far away. By the time Gurjinder Dhaliwal finally stood in front of a judge, the case had already stopped being just news. Maple's parents came to court every single day. Her mother always held a small frame photo of her daughter. Her father rarely spoke. When reporters asked what justice meant to him, he said quietly, "Just the truth. Nothing more." Dhaliwal barely moved. He sat still, eyes on the table, almost detached from the world around him. He didn't look like a killer. He looked like someone trying to disappear into his own silence. But the evidence kept dragging him back. The detectives had built their case piece by piece. The shell casing on the ground, the cell phone records, the browser searches, the rented car seen near the campus that night. None of it was loud, but together it spoke louder than he ever could. The prosecution described him as a man who couldn't let go. They said his love had turned into control and control into rage. But even that felt too simple. What happened wasn't just jealousy. During the hearings, Maple's friends filled the benches behind her family. Most stayed silent. Some cried when the footage played. That short, grainy video showing Maple walking toward her car, unaware that someone was waiting in the dark. Then the flash, the chaos, the car speeding off. The room went dead quiet. Even the sound of the air conditioner felt too loud. Dhaliwal didn't flinch. He never looked up. The defense tried to soften the story, called it a moment of passion, said he lost control. But the evidence didn't agree. The car was rented days before. The gun bought, cleaned, hidden. The phone shut off right before the attack. Nothing about that was sudden. The legal process dragged on for years. There were appeals, delays, motions that reopened old wounds. And then, after years of silence, Dhaliwal spoke. Just 2 words: guilty. Second degree, no apology, no explanation. The sentence came quickly after. Life in prison, with parole possible after 21 years. For some, it felt like closure. For her family, it was just another reminder that Maple's story was over, and his wasn't. Outside the courthouse, her mother faced a wall of microphones. She didn't cry this time. Her voice was steady, but her hands shook. "She's at peace now," she said, "but peace doesn't bring her back." The cameras caught the words, but what they didn't capture was what came next. When the crowd faded and she was left standing there, holding her daughter's picture like it was all that remained. One of the detectives watched her from the steps. He said later, "That case never left me." You think you get used to it, but you don't, because some stories don't end when the verdict is read. When the trial was finally over, there wasn't any real ending. The news stations left, the lights came down, and everyone else kept living, except her family. For them, time didn't move. It just stopped. At Simon Fraser University, Maple's picture still hangs near the art studio. Most students pass by without a glance. A few slow down, read her name, and realize she was one of them. Same halls, same dreams. It's quiet there now. Her mom visits sometimes. She doesn't talk to reporters anymore. She just stands near that parking lot, the place where it happened, and stays for a few minutes. Then she leaves. Every time she says it feels the same. Heavy, but still hers to carry. At home, the family keeps her things exactly where they were. Her paintings, her books, even her cup on the shelf. Her dad doesn't say much. He fixes small things around the house and changes the flowers near her photo. That's his way of talking to her now. Gurjinder Dhaliwal is still in prison, 21 years before parole. The sentence sounds long, but not long enough for the people who lost her. The world barely remembers his name, and maybe that's fair. Some names don't deserve to be remembered. The detectives who worked the case still talk about her sometimes. They've seen worse scenes, but this one stayed. One of them said later, "You think you get used to it, but some faces stay with you." When you look at the story now, it isn't really about the court or the verdict or even jealousy. It's about a girl who trusted someone and a man who couldn't accept losing control. It's about how easy it is to call something love when it's really fear. Maple was 23. She wanted to be a doctor. She wanted to help people. That's what she was. All promise, all beginning. Her mother once said she wanted people to remember Maple's smile, not her death. And maybe that's all that's left. That smile, still frozen in the photo at the university, still bright after everything else faded. Stories like this don't really end. They stay in small ways. A name on a wall, a memory that refuses to leave. And when the noise is gone, what's left is the truth. That love never kills, and what does isn't love at all. Maple Batalia lived, and that will always matter more than the man who tried to erase her.